How you doing, everybody? Azrod here. I'm going to teach you in this video how to take your campaign from this, that's right, to my microphone, to this. And you'll be surprised how easy it is. Okay, so getting started, if you're looking to say, we've got a good group going and we've got, oh, my hands moved the camera again. Still got to learn how to use that camera. Um, you've got a good campaign going. You've got a good group, but you all really want to play Daggerheart. But all your characters are in Dungeons and Dragons. Oh no. Is it easy to do? No. Can it be done? Yes. But you have to make a lot of concessions. One of the things to remember is Dungeons and Dragons has been out for how many decades now? It's almost as old as I am, I think. So it has a wealth of classes, a wealth of races, a wealth of abilities and things like that that Daggerheart just doesn't have. Okay, it doesn't make one better or worse than the other. It just makes them different. Also, Dungeons and Dragons is built in a different way. That Daggerheart is not a 5e clone by any means. Okay, there's some aspects of it definitely inspired by 5e, like when we get to trait bonuses and things like that. But pretty much that, and some of the ancestries, that's where the similarities end. The Daggerheart is new, so of course they have less. So if your character is a cleric or a barbarian or a warlock or monk, it's not going to be an easy transition. And I'm going to explain a little bit how you could actually do it and thematically make it make sense. But because if we take a look, first of all, so Daggerheart has a lot more ancestries that you can work with. Okay, they go beyond the elf, dwarf, human, that type of thing. They include a lot more, and they have some that I haven't really seen in Dungeons and Dragons, at least not in any of the main books. So moving your ancestry, or in D&D as they call it, race, they might call it something new, I'm not sure. That shouldn't be too hard, okay? Easy. Next part, moving your character class over. Now this is where it becomes kind of challenging, because the way Daggerheart is built, it's built to be a different feel, a different style of game. You aren't fantasy superheroes like you can be in Dungeons and Dragons. Yes, you're empowered and you're heroic, but you have more of a limited menu to choose from when it comes to abilities and things like that. So, keeping that in mind, you would really have to say, okay, my character in Dungeons Dragon is what? What purpose does it serve? Is it a tank? Should I go Guardian in Daggerheart? That is a viable option. If you are the healer, one of the druid specs is a healer spec, and you can switch your roles over. Okay, so you're not switching, class for class. I'm a cleric in this, I'm going to be a cleric in that. Okay, that's not going to happen. Okay, you're going to say I'm a healer in this, and I'm moving over to a healer in Daggerheart. So I'm a healer in D&D. I can be a healer in Daggerheart. What abilities should I get? And even they say in the book that you can always retheme things to make it your own. So instead of nature healing, you could be a holy healer. Okay, kind of easy to do. When it comes to warlocks and monks, you're going to have to go to the Void for that, which is a portion of the Daggerheart website where they're testing new things out, and they have a character class for warlock, and they have something called the fighter, which is not like the fighter in Dungeons and Dragons. You could either be a monk or you could be like this really strong beat 'em up guy, which I think is really cool. I haven't really seen that, little fisticuffs bruiser type class. So when you're porting your characters over, you got to look for the role that they fulfill. That damage is easy, okay? Things like I'm a druid, I can shapeshift. Easy. See, I think it's even easier in Daggerheart. I like it a lot better. So that's moving your classes. Now, as far as stats go, you can kind of link up the stats. There is no, I've got an 18 agility in Daggerheart. No, you just have the bonus. I never understood why they had like the 18 and everything else, and then you figure out your bonus. Why take that math step? Just have it the bonus. I think Pathfinder, the new Pathfinder, just switched to that. And I think a long time ago, Mutants and Masterminds did it also, which was kind of like really based on not 5e, but like Dungeons and Dragons at the time. So, so moving your stats over, you can approximate. As far as level is concerned, when you're moving your level over, there are only 10 levels in Daggerheart, where there's 20 in Dungeons and Dragons. But in those 10, you get a lot of choices and a lot of variety. It's going to be up to the dungeon master to take a look through and say, how powerful do I want these guys? If they were level 10 in D&D, they're not going to be level 10 in Daggerheart. Maybe you should look at making them 5, okay? And the power levels should come out the same, which is pretty nice. Pretty easy conversion. Or you might want to just start them out at level 1. When I get to the thematics wise of how this could happen, I'll go into detail on that. So that is, for the player characters. For your campaigns, your adventure that you're running, okay, even if it's a published adventure, whether it's from Wizards or whoever it might be from, you're going to have a little bit of homework on your end to transfer all the monster stat blocks and everything over. One of the great tools that's out there, I don't know who built it, but if you go to freshcutgrass.app, it has a really easy way of building custom encounters, which is really nice because right now they're still working on launching that for Roll20 and Daggerheart Nexus, I think. So it's going to be a little bit different. Okay, for your encounters, they handle encounters, building your encounters, a lot different in Daggerheart. I think it's a little bit easier and it makes a little bit more sense in Daggerheart than it does in Dungeons and Dragons. Because in D&D, and I can't quote this, and I've been playing D&D since the 80s. Let's see. All right, so they have an XP budget per character for combat level. It doesn't even include challenge rating in this calculation, which is kind of strange. You're looking at the XP bonus that you get from the monster, which I think is also calculated on hit points and everything like that. But anyway, choose a difficulty. So you'd have low, moderate, or high difficulty for the characters. Okay. And then you also look at your party's level. So step 1 is you choose your difficulty. Low difficulty, an encounter of low difficulty is likely to have 1 or 2 scary, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So determine your XP budget. Using the XP budget character table, cross-reference the party's level with the desired counter difficulty, multiply the number in the table by the number of characters in the party to get your XP budget for the encounter. For every creature that has XP value in its stat block, when you add a creature to your combat encounter, deduct the XP from your XP budget to determine how many XP you have left to spend. Spend as much of your XP budget as you can without going over. It's okay if you have a few unspent XP left over. And the examples are given below. Okay, so you have this XP budget system. In Daggerheart, they have something called battle points. Okay, and it's more math. 3 times the number of PCs in combat plus 2. That's going to give you battle points. Okay. And then you can adjust those battle points. Like if the fight should be less difficult or shorter, you subtract 1. Let's see, add 1 if you choose an adversary from a lower tier. Add 2 points if the fight should be more dangerous or last longer. So very easy to adjust your budget. And then spending. You spend 1 point for each group of minions. Equal to the size of the party. Spend 1 point for each support adversary. Spend 2 points for each horde if you're using a horde. Spend 3 points for each leader. Spend 4 points for each bruiser. And spend 5 points for each solo adversary. So it's a little bit easier to gauge your encounters. Now, when you're taking stat blocks from monsters and everything else, on page 208, okay, they have something called improvising adversaries, and this is a really good table to say, okay, this is what I'm going to start out with for my bad guys. So you take a look at the tiers, what tiers your characters are in. There are only 4 tiers in Daggerheart, 10 levels, 4 tiers. And then it gives you an attack modifier, it gives you a damage dice, it gives you a difficulty number for them, and damage thresholds. And then if it's like a big bad, you can probably adjust it a little bit. You take a look at the abilities and powers within their stat block in DnD, and then you can kind of just translate it right over to like, okay, this is a really, if it's a really huge power or layer action or something, have it spend fear in order to trigger it. Okay. So it's not as bad as it sounds. So in conclusion, is it easy to transfer all your characters and your players over to Daggerheart? No. Can it be done? Yes. We're all creative motherfuckers. So we can do it. You know, we all have good brains in us. At least I think so. I should hope so. What do you guys think? Has anybody tried to convert their campaign over to Daggerheart? Believe it or not, some campaigns, like I looked at like my old tiny dungeon campaign, that would be actually really easy to transfer over. So it's pretty cool. And how can you thematically transfer your game over to with these new abilities? Because your role abilities are going to be much different than what you had in D&D. Things are going to change. Mechanics are going to change. They're going to have, your players are going to have access to economies that they didn't have, hope, stress, fear, armor slots, things like that. Just have a magic wildstorm run through. Okay. Everything's the same, but everything's changed slightly. And, you know, throwing a few different changes, I think that'll work out pretty well. And that could be an excuse for somebody to, you know, kind of redo their character. As they do in Baldur's Gate 3, stand in front of the magic mirror. All of a sudden, you're somebody else. You're a new class. I forgot everything that I used to be able to do, but I can do this now. It's not that far-fetched in the realm of fantasy role-playing games. Anyway, I hope everybody's doing well. I had an absolutely horrid week. One of my dogs passed away on Monday, which bummed me out. And while picking him up, rushing him to the vet, I absolutely tore muscles in my back. And I look okay when I'm sitting down, but look at me when I'm trying to stand up or sit down or roll over in bed. It is not a pretty sight, guys. But I hope everybody's doing well, and better than me this week. I appreciate everybody watching. If you can hit a like and subscribe or the bell icon, you know, those YouTube things that they put on there. I appreciate it. I'm looking forward to hearing from everybody. Have a great night or day, whenever you're watching this. Just have a good one.